Call the shit poop.
It's funny as I just had a bunch of quotes from the water boy come through a table the other day.
Call the shit poop. Tackling fuel.
Yeah. Water sucks. Gatorade's better. Yeah. It was a good time.
My mom also told me not to get a tattoo of Roy Orbison on my butt.
But Mama don't know won't hurt her. That's right.
There you go.
Oh, I now have Masters of Disguise, so I'll have to watch that. And I gotta say, the critical painting of that movie is wow. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And our Saturday game, we told him he needed to watch it because of something that related to it. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember now. I think you put a picture of him in turtle outfit as your backdrop, and then I was like, "Is that from Master and His Guy?" And then we went from there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was whenever my character was stuck in the giant's castle.
Oh, in the house. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The house with
becoming another person.
Yes.
Hey Jay, do you have the link for us?
Oh, yes. From the mighty YouTube. Yeah, I'll get that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Because I'm a moron and I closed it. Right. Then I suppose they're gonna like go throw stuff like that on the internet. There you go. You'll find it in the Zoom chat, or I can put it in the Facebook chat if that's better.
I got it.
Works just fine.
Thank you.
All right. So once we're all lived and poked and stuff, who wants to recap what happened last time? I blame Star.
Hey, work sucks, man.
Work sucks and then you die. No way.
I have notes. I can recap.
What are you, like a local scribe?
Thank goodness.
Did your hair get poofier?
When it grows out, it really does that. It gets really poofy.
That is wicked cool.
I cannot control it. It does what it wants.
Same. When I was a kid, I went as Beekman for Halloween, like Beekman's World. And we got up at the crack of dawn to put at the predecessor to hair gel, hair cement in my hair. I went to mom's right style. I went to school and by noon was pulling hairy chunks of cement off the top of my head because my hair was like, what's that? Cement order? Like there'll be no control in that. It just it does its own thing.
Yeah, the only time I ever got my hair under control was when I was cosplaying Goku. And
Fun.
I had my hair really long at the time, and so I got this super strong kind of like glue spray on hair gel and all pointy.
Please tell me you have a picture of that.
I do, yes. I'll put it in the group chat later.
Like I would publicly pester you for a copy of that. That sounds awesome.
All right. So last session, we started out by opening the vault. We found a way to zip line down into one of the buildings, and inside of that building was a small room where there was a pop-up screen, and we were greeted by a recorded message from a woman basically telling us we're supposed to be the curators of mankind, telling us we had to activate some generators to restore Earth to what it was before. Let's see. We found the coordinates for the generators. Skimming my notes. There are 6 generators in large cities. I got some of them written down. New York, Phoenix, LA, San Fran. I missed the other 2.
No worries.
Let's see. And then we kind of explored the city a little bit. We didn't go too far, but we checked out some of the robots. I accidentally made one of them explode. And then we went to the cryo chambers and found that there were people who were in like a cryogenic sleep, and that some of the chambers had been ripped out of the floor into the sewers. We questioned one of the robots for information on the city, and then we went into the sewers to find out what was happening down there. We found that big lizard guy and beat him up a little bit, and we saved the woman who told us not to kill the lizard.
Yes.
Because the lizard was Dr. Shivago or whatever. his name
Rupert
Right.
Kostka.
There you go.
Right. Because in theory, you need the lizard guy in order to get the devices to work. Right. That said, it's at last time I checked, there was a party split on whether or not, what you wanted to do with the machines and how much of the world you wanted to restore, and if you wanted to restore it at all, and screw that guy. Do you have the lizard in custody now, or did he escape into the sewer?
He
escaped.
escaped.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just checking. What's the plan? Are you going in after him? Konosai, what do you think? Since you did all the note taking, I suppose it's only fair you get to go first.
No, we don't pursue. We have to. I think we actually went back up into the lab to
think we did too.
discuss. Yeah, to discuss things with the woman.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
She's busy pulling herself together. She was attacked, but she's also like an intellectual who doesn't look like she's scrawny and not prepared for this. So she's bleeding a little bit. She's going to live. She's busy patching herself up. When you come through, she goes, "You didn't take him, did you?"
Take who?
The doctor. You didn't pursue him, did you?
No. Nope.
Oh, good. So as much as I can explain the situation to you, and I already have, I'm honestly not sure what to do now. We need his expertise, but I don't think he's going to be forthcoming with it. And I'm not really sure how to change his mind.
Does he feel pain?
Probably. I don't think his mutation was, how do we say, complex enough to make him to change him that much. No, I believe he feels pain.
So maybe torture is the last resort.
Wow.
Okay.
It's for the greater good. I mean,
I'm not morally opposed to that. As a scientist, I tend to not pay attention to that whole kind of thing. But which is not outside of game. That was not commentary on scientists. In case somebody sees this who's a medical student and looks at me like I'm some sort of jerk. That was not like it was, but hear me out on this. If you torture him, we really have you damage the credibility of any information he provides you. I'm not saying I'm opposed to you torturing. I'm saying that I don't know if that's the best way to get the truth.
well, like I said, last resort.
You could send your army of they robots after them. I don't know if I can say the right name. We're live.
Why
Maybe
did
if we
he
can
turn into a lizard man when the rest of you did not.
That is so he did that on purpose. That's his own action. I got to look at his notes earlier before this whole event went down. If I understand this correctly, he pursued that mutation for the regenerative properties. It is entirely possible that he knew the blast was going to come. It's entirely possible that he thought the reptilian DNA would allow him to regenerate after being caught in the blast. There could be some entirely different reason, but as a scientist, that's the only thing I can come up with is the regenerative capabilities present in lizards. There are lots of creatures that are faster, stronger, ones that can fly. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how come he chose lizard over anything else. The genetic recombinator still works. I'm not suggesting that you should mutate yourselves, but you could.
Could we
I could
mutate him back?
So say, yeah, could we capture him and threaten to mutate him back?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Probably, but in order to get it to work in reverse, I'll need the polarizer chip, and it's missing, and I can't exactly fabricate a second one. presumably taken by him in some attempt to prevent that very thing from happening. But maybe not. Maybe it got shook in the blast and it's here in the city somewhere. You can't miss it. This big, bright green, lots of silver dots and cuts all over it. It looks somewhere between an old floppy disk and a dragon scale. It's really hard to miss.
A what?
That's funny. A floppy disk was a heavy piece of, I actually don't know what they were made out of. Plastic, I think, that was about this big and black and had a metal disc in the middle.
I always want to make the joke of, oh, you mean the save icon?
Yeah.
Yes, but much larger and 3D.
Oh, are we talking about the early stage ones that were?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. The big honking things that were like frisbees, except they were square. Right.
We wonder what the heck computer that went into.
Yeah. Ones that would look at your phone today and wet themselves.
How much can you hold floppy disks? Floppy
Nice.
disks.
Ah,
Excuse me. I am so sorry. Floppy disks.
Freudian slip.
Well, gee, Star.
All right. Well, we'll just move on from that one. It's like a 10 megabyte joke, but it's
Oh,
lazy.
That's a
tongue.
decent size. Yeah. Fantastic.
Oh, sorry. you
So,
two.
6 inches.
Yeah.
6 inches.
Right.
so
Right.
regardless of what we do with him, the first thing we should think of is how we're going to get him.
How to what? I'm
We
sorry.
can't
I
do
lost
anything
you.
with him. So the first thing we have to do before we decide what to do with him is to actually get him, because we can't do anything with him until we have him. So we
Agreed.
should
Good
think
point.
about that. And
He's a very good point.
lizards don't like cold. It slows them down.
What are you thinking? Freeze the entire sewer system? Large portions of it at a time?
Napoleus, you got something that we could use to
What's
Cool.
that? We need to do
No, I know
large
it's the
scale
opposite.
devastation. Napoleon's is your guy.
I know that's the opposite of the route we usually go, but figure if you can do one, you probably do the other.
I mean, the only way I could think of to do that would be if you had like a lot of pressurized gas somewhere.
Pressurized gas.
Yeah.
Well, there is the power plant. It's not. I mean, the robot should keep it running. Which means, in theory, all the compressed gases and air and whatnot should still be there. But and you can go look there. If you're talking about freezing the place, would coolant work instead of gas? There's the cryo plant is over on the other end of town. Was the predecessor to the plant they used to do this to us. Initially, we had talked about suspended animation, like in that old cartoon with the guy who doesn't want to be a delivery boy. There's a spaceship and a one-eyed lady and a big green ship. It was funny.
What's a show?
A show is like a made-up series of memories in a row that usually have a directed story.
It's like a book.
Like a book, except you watch it instead of read it. Yes, like a book. You're right.
But don't you watch a book too while you read it?
No, that's a headache. That's not like you don't do both at the same time. Don't do like. And she goes, so we were trying to go with cryogenics and we decided that didn't work. So instead we came up with, well, you saw the tank's full of goop. The goop isn't a coolant, or I would recommend that. It does slow down neural systems by a substantial amount. I've only aged a little bit and I understand I've been asleep for quite some time. But you could try the cryo plant. The cryo plant will probably be more effective. It will have more materials for you in it. But there was a minor explosion and Well, let's just say you shouldn't put mutation tanks next to the cryo lab. So it's less safe than I would like to admit.
Are we
Y'all sure did
talking?
have a lot of problems with minor explosions, didn't you?
Yeah. So are we talking like Veggie Tales or killer broccoli?
We're talking stay on the path and you won't have any problems.
Heard that one
Okay.
before.
It didn't hold true.
Yeah.
Well, how do we? I don't have any guarantees. They haven't changed since then. But last time I saw one of the cryo creatures, how do I describe this? Do you know what a porcupine is?
Yes.
Okay, a porcupine, twice as large, covered in daggers made out of ice, that it can fling from its body in a moment's notice and almost instantly regrow.
Ooh, fun. We gotta get one of those for the ship.
So in theory, if it makes spines made of ice, could it freeze the sewer system?
I suppose, though you would need a lot of spines.
I mean, it freezes the spines, right?
Yes.
So you would really need it and maybe a few more of its, right?
Yes, but I feel like the air gas is a better idea. But hey, if you want to go hunt down frozen, porcupine-sicles.
We'll call it Plan B. I'm going to be the master of Plan C, D, and E today.
Sounds good. Kano Saib, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty good plan. I think he's probably going to try to flee the cold. So if we can get sections of the sewers cold at time, like kind of like shuffle or herd him in a direction, we could probably pinch him off there.
It's a good call.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's a really good plan. Maybe if we can go down there and shut off some of the pathways to try and, wrangle him in.
Okay.
But where do we want him to go?
Good question.
Where is this the mutation or the genetic recombinators?
The genetic recombinator is and she pushes the button on one of the doors in the lab, and what appears to be a portion of the wall slides away to showcase a second portion of the building. And there is what looks an awful lot like a large telescope with a claw on the end of it, like from the claw machines, hung over the kind of table that they lay on in the Matrix, hole in the back and everything. And there's a lot of implements coming out of the front of the machine, about eye level where you would be if you laid on the table. All the pointy bits you find on a dentist tray. She goes, genetic recombinator.
Okay, so we need to get him back here, if that's the plan we want to go with.
Yeah, we could herd him through the sewer systems, like Konosai said, in this direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull him out through the hole in the floor.
Nopales, I imagine you've never seen anything quite like this before, but you're, a tech individual. Do you think it's reasonable that you could make a roll to sort out how it works and maybe circumvent the need to go find a chip that may or may not be somewhere in the city?
I mean, I can certainly try.
There you go. That's the spirit. I have a table that's now terrified whenever I say that. Apparently, I've taken on a tick of saying that whenever the odds aren't in their favor. And that table's great because whenever I say that, their first reaction is to then immediately try.
So let's sharps. Am I going to take any cuts on this?
Oh yeah, 2. You've never seen anything like it.
Great. Yay. But I have 5 dice. Here we go.
I'm going to go stand on the other side of the room.
Yeah, I'm gonna join Jacobite.
Yeah, that
Sounds
was
good.
really smart. Would you like to know what my final roll was after 2 cuts?
I
3
would.
ones.
3 ones.
Seriously?
Nice.
Yeah, 3 ones.
Fantastic.
What
So
cut
you
would
look
you
at-
like? Everyone is dead.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
right. So you look at it, you start looking at it and fussing it over, and you're like, okay, yeah, I got this. And you break off a panel, and this causes an electrical short in the system, and you hear kind of a zzz, pop noise, and it starts to smoke on the side. And she looks at you and goes, well, now we need more than the chip.
Yeah, well,
I'll try and the neogenic recombinator was not my area of expertise, but I did help design part of it. So I will work on that while you come up with whatever it is you're going to come up with. And she heads in your direction with what appears to be a clipboard, an angry face, and a pile of papers.
well, I guess it could have been worse.
She goes, don't count on that. I haven't figured out what's wrong with it yet. Rosetta, what do you think? What I think, he's going to cost you all the ability to do this.
Well, if this is what we want to do, what do we want to look for first?
I mean, realistically, if we're just threatening him with it, it just needs to look like it's working. We don't
That's
actually
true.
need it to work.
That's true.
You would lie to the bad guy?
I mean, he might not be a bad guy. He might be completely neutral.
I would lie to the good guy if it was for the right reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you got somebody that's lawful stupid and they have a serial killer that they want to save. Oh, look, he's escaping. Look over there. Problem solved.
So, Kano Saib, you shared your photo with us, and because he just said So recently, a friend of mine and I got into an argument about whether or not Saiyans can breathe in outer space. Because in the beginnings of Dragon Ball Z, you watch Nappa and Vegeta blow up a planet, right? And then as it explodes, fly out to outer space and like giggle and talk at each other about the devastation they've caused. Fast forward a couple of seasons, Frieza goes to blow up the planet and says, hey, Goku, guess what? I don't have to win this fight, right? I just have to make sure that you're still on the planet when it blows up, because you'll die in the blast and I won't. And Goku's like, whatever, we'll both not survive the impact. I mean, we're both on the planet. He goes, yeah. But my floating debris bits will, I don't need to breathe in space. So as long as a portion of me survives, my men will pick me up, put me in the healing tank, and I'll live another day. And you won't, because even if you survive the blast, Saiyans can't breathe in space. And a bunch of my friends, my whole life, have bought that story, and I'm like, whatever, bad guys lie.
Because how would Goku know? How would he
Right,
know?
he wouldn't know. But Vegeta and Nappa are Saiyans, and they breathe just fine. And they were stunned. They're like, no, Frieza wouldn't. Seriously, he's the bad guy. They lie. Frieza would have said Saiyans are allergic to dirt if it meant that Goku would stay away from him while he hid in the dirt. So what's the plan? We're headed down into the sewer system, or we're headed off to go find this cryo shit, or we're headed to the air gas plant, or we're headed back out of the vault to leave the lizard guy to whatever it is he's gonna do.
I'd say let's go for the coolant first, because that's the
Okay.
one thing we actually know we can get.
I agree.
Sounds
Maybe look
good?
to see if we can find this polarizing chip along the way. I mean,
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
and he could have it, so it's
very possible.
we don't really know.
I imagine if he has it, it's probably in a hideout somewhere or something.
It's possible. Jacobite, what do you think? You're the big, strong one that's going to plug every hole they make with your wide self. What do you think?
I think they're gonna make holes wherever they go, so I may as well just follow until it's fighting time, and then I'll get in front.
You bet. Sounds good.
Like the
so
good
you-
attack dog.
Yeah, right. You've been around the city a little bit by this point. Finding your way to the coolant plant is not a problem. One, it's big, 2, factories are usually pretty easy to see, even in a city, big smokestacks and crap. And 3, it's covered in frost. The entire thing is covered in enough ice that you can't see the windows or doors. It's like a glacier with metal rods coming out of the top of it.
We're not going to get up in here and some dude's in there talking about his wife, right? Are we?
Pardon?
Mr. Freeze.
They call me Mr. Freeze.
Yes, but if you do, it has to be the absolutely awful one from the absolutely awful movie with the dinosaurs were killed off by the Ice Age pun. Oh man. I mean, I love a bad pun, but holy crap. That movie's filled with them. Also, that nipples are unacceptable. I'm not, it's not okay.
Yeah. So is there like are there multiple entrances into this thing, or is it like one big obvious door in the front? How are we getting into this place?
So the building itself is warehouse width. It's pretty wide, right? The kind of warehouse that's large enough that you keep the delivery trucks in it. Like it has access bays, that kind of thing. It has a large yard, most of which is also filled with ice. Think like frozen lake next to frozen warehouse. The ice on the warehouse is thick enough that even if you could find an obvious door, we're talking feet of ice to get to it. You can approach it from a couple of different angles though, because it's in the middle of the city. It's not up against a wall, so there's lots of clearance on any given side. So the lake goes all the way around it. So you're really looking at a frozen fortress, a frozen warehouse in the middle of a frozen parking lot, where the ice goes up 6 or 7 feet, and you see what look like thorny koosh balls bouncing all over the place up there.
Okay, Nepales, what do you have in the way of melting this ice?
There are 3 huge rods coming up at the top of the warehouse. One of them you see when it's really, really hot and there's that kind of muggy distortion wavy shit, you can see that coming out of them. So presumably you could get in that way. But everything else is iced over. Now, I'm not saying you can't go through the ice, but there's nothing. Those are your only options that aren't currently frozen over.
Not sure I really have anything right now.
Sure you do. You're you. Blow it up or whatever.
I guess I do have some of our drug
Say that
bombs.
again?
Do we still have any of those marbles?
We do.
Ooh, marbles.
Yeah, what about the drug dust that starts on fire? Do we have any of that with us?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have some of the drug bombs.
That could work.
How close are you? How like when you saw the bouncy things, they move quickly. Like when you air pop popcorn, right? It could like that.
I mean, from this distance, can we tell do they look like porcupines?
I don't know. How close are you?
That's a good point. How close are we?
So the frozen over like icy bluff parking lot. So the ice on the parking lot has risen up several feet. It's not ground level anymore. So you're looking at like a cliff that goes all the way around the warehouse. That's around eye level with me. I'm 6'2", give or take. So, and it's wide enough that you could. Yeah, it's a warehouse parking lot. You could park a whole bunch of vehicles in it, right? So it's a pretty wide space. You can be on the edge. The streets around that are city streets. We're talking four lanes at any given moment. So you can get pretty close if you want to the parking lot, not to the building without getting up there or flying above it.
You said that the ice is about 6 feet tall.
Give or take. Yeah. It's not the kind of ice you can see through. It's that frosted over white shit. It's got that translucent veininess in it, like it's been melted and refrozen a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm. So in theory, if we had some sort of wedge and we hit it hard enough, we could
create cracks.
Yeah, split it somewhat.
Probably, yeah.
Like a ship's prow, perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking something else that was wedge shaped that I could hit, but
You lost me.
I was thinking maybe there's something around we can scavenge that is.
Oh, I see. I didn't know there was a
large
piece of
wedge.
loot in your inventory that I was forgetting about. Oh my god,
I have a prow hammer and a jagsary, and those I don't think would really exactly work directly on the ice.
Are there vehicles?
I was just gonna say there's a bunch of like cars laying around here and there. Yeah. All the things you might expect to find in the city are here, being driven or maintained or whatever by the makeshift robot people. Cars, hot dog carts, everything else.
Like
you even have robots.
Cars?
Say again.
Like ignition engine cars, gasoline.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a horse of a different color.
What color was the old one?
Not fire. You know,
non-combustion engine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What condition is that gasoline going to be in after this much time?
They're still driving around, right?
Right.
That's
all
true.
the cars run on like vegetable oil and solar power just to crush your dreams. No, I'm just kidding.
Vegetable
Green
oil still
energy.
flammable.
That's true. So is flour. Holy crap.
And as
of
we've
course,
discussed, non-dairy coffee.
Yeah,
creamer.
on dairy creamer.
Yeah.
I will have
I
you
know.
know, I informed one of my students of that the other day. They're like, really? I was like, yep.
Moo. Dangerous waters.
Like, what have you done, you damn fool? Like,
It's something that they should have known already.
Yeah, I mean, not my fault. Their childhood has been deprived of
yeah.
setting things on fire.
I'm the kind of guy, if you have a cookout or a bonfire or something, once I'm close enough that I can feel the fire on me, that's close enough, right? I have an aversion to fire. So I was not the kind of kid who like set stuff on fire and like burnt bugs and crap. I was never that. Nope. To this day, I light candles like a little wimp, right? Like I do not like fire at all. And I think that's a nice, reasonable fear to have. I mean, it's fire. Like, I also don't make toast in the bathtub and nobody gives me crap for that. Like,
Well,
don't you start giving me crap for that. Like,
I mean, sometimes you get hungry in there.
I mean, that's true.
Bubbles all around, little ship, little ducky floating. And all I can think
take
about
a
is
manly bath. Okay, those
Yeah.
are manly bubbles.
they're manly bubbles. It's a manly ship and it's a manly duck.
That's right.
But sometimes you just want a piece of toast.
So, Nepal,
Anyway,
what can you do with these? They're called cars? Is that what they were called?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, can we like take one of the cars and then actually I wonder if I could.
Are you about
modify.
to jack a car from a robot? Like iRobot
This is
meets
turned into
GTA?
GTA.
Yeah, right. Like,
I mean, yes.
I see.
They're just going to explode anyway.
Just the one.
I
We
know,
don't
and
know
then,
that.
you know,
We've
we
only
could-
encountered one. It could be all of them for all we know.
So, Nopales, you what? Walk me through this. You walk out into traffic?
Well, hey, do you have any of those marbles?
yes.
Okay, excellent. Give me one of those marbles.
Oh, no.
Or some of those marbles.
Oh,
And then, of course, I'm going to need some muscle, so I'm probably going to want Jacobite to accompany me on this endeavor.
Of course.
They lean over to Joaquin and go, $10 says they hit him with it. Don't even stop. Just
He pulls his money out and is just holding it.
Okay, so we're just gonna have ourselves. I mean, this is San Francisco after all. I'm sure they have memories of a carjacking. Or...
yeah, right. Yeah.
And so I'm gonna pull out a couple of those marbles and my pistol, and the very first car that slows down enough, I'm going to throw the marble in front of it, and then pull out my gun and point it at the driver.
Okay. Grove Street, here we go again. Yeah.
YouTube flagged for violence.
Great. No robots were harmed in the production of this video, except the made-up ones,
Yeah.
and they weren't real to begin with. You bet.
Yeah.
So you throw the marble in front of the vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, it's San Francisco. It's a real city with real problems and real jaded natures. They don't slow down. This means that they. Are you in the street?
Not yet.
Okay, you bet. They hit the marble. By which I mean they run over the marble.
Yep.
Which causes you hear a because it's a marble. You watch it disappear under the tire, and then you hear a cracking noise. Yeah, that's the one. First you hear as the car rolls over it, you watch the marble disappear. Then there's what sounds like an egg with a particularly thick shell cracking. And then there is presently a fireball in front of you as the car explodes. Make a deck save to get out of the way.
Okay.
If he gets hit by the car, is it Ozetta's point or Joaquin's point?
Technically mine. But if literally anything else happens, it's Joaquin.
522.
Nice, you bet. So you get out of the way, mostly.
Damn it.
I said mostly.
Joaquin will take the $10 and he'll like give her 2 back.
Nice.
Partially got hit.
Fair enough.
Right, indirect. Yeah. What? No, Polys, do you have a narrative twist for that? You've been caught in a car explosion like it's 1992 and you're playing San Andreas.
Yeah, I'm just going to go full Tarantino on this.
Nice.
Move out of the way of the fire, and then the very next car that stops because of the explosion, just point my black market pistol right at the driver's head and said, "Out now, or you're next."
You bet. So they get out, right? They put their hands up and they, hey, oh, it's not worth dying over, right? And they get out and they back away.
And there's close up on my feet.
Yeah, right. they get out, they back up, and as soon as you stop looking at them directly, they tear off the way they came.
Excellent. So we have an engine.
The robot says, quote, "My whip," end quote. Right.
Nay, it is our whip. I'm sorry. Nay, it is our whip.
Oh, good Lord. We'll jump in that now.
I love that guy.
Wait, so is this car on fire already?
The one he blew up? Yes. The other one? No.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually playing GTA 5 right now. Not in this moment, but I'm in the middle of playing GTA 5, and I am, man.
And it only took us an hour for Napoleon to set something on fire this session.
Well, we
It
didn't
has
blow
been a
anything
whole
up
hour.
last time, so.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You got to make up for lost time. I'm going to need like twice. That would be like a sequel. Twice as many explosions. They got to be twice as big, right? Embrace the crazy. Blow it all up.
All right. So I'm thinking I would actually like to try to jerry-rig this car to where the engine runs for a short time. Obviously, this is going to destroy the engine, and that's fine. But runs super hot and expel most of that heat out the exhaust.
Okay.
How much of the other vehicle is on fire?
That too.
I mean, if we're gonna go GTA, right? It lets on fire, then it blows up, and then it's fine. Like because that's how that works, right?
Is it still smoldering?
Yeah, a little, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I'll, in the meantime, push that over next to the ice.
Wait, it's on
Like
fire. Aren't we supposed to turn the other direction and walk away?
and not look at it, right? Like, do
Whip our
something cool.
hair unceremoniously and unnecessarily.
Yeah, right. And slow the whole walking in it, like walk slowly so the whole thing looks very like Matrix. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Somebody needs to jump through the air just so they can be carried by the explosion. And then like parkour roll at the end and look all extra badass. Produce a trench coat while you fly through the air.
Joaquin already has a trench coat.
There you go.
go.
We're halfway there.
Yeah.
I finished San Andreas recently for the first time. I did not successfully play that as a child, which means I had never seen the bit where Sam Jackson, who plays a corrupt cop in that game, delivers like the most impressive I will be heard speech I think I've ever heard in a video game that wasn't like Elizabethan already. And he goes, "I will crap on you from such a height." It was really great. Like, you believe that God himself was crapped upon your lap. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm listening. like I believe
got my
you.
attention, Sam.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't like you, but I can't help but listen. Jacobite, why is there a half exploded car and a child behind you?
He's walking away from the explosion, and we've got some shit on fire. I'm pretty sure he did it too, not us.
Is that from Max and me?
I don't know.
Oh man,
It's from Google.
nice. Isn't that Johnny Storm's first adventure with his powers? No,
I'm pretty sure the kid's photoshopped into whatever's behind it.
probably.
God, I hope so.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I found another one that's even weirder.
Ooh. Nepales, what did you roll for that car controlling edit check? I meant rigging.
Oh, I hadn't rolled for it yet. So I'll do that right now. 6, 5. I've got to roll a couple more dice. Actually, every number from 1 to 6.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you pass, right? So what's
Yeah.
the plan here? We want we want to card the run briefly, but hotter than normal, and all the heat.
I want
go out
to.
the
So
back.
I'll basically what I want to do is I want the engine to run super hot. We're going to throw it in reverse
Mhm.
and try to basically use the car itself to carve a path through the ice.
Okay. Sounds good. That's going to work, right?
It may go slow. It may go
Right.
slow as crap, and this car is probably toast after we're done because it's meant to do this. But hey,
It's a car from a box in the middle of like a war-torn future.
yeah, I mean, these people mean nothing to me. I don't care what.
Is it a Toyota? Because if it's a Toyota, it's definitely still running.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have
No,
a
let's,
Corolla, and we've gotten great. Like, man, that car's great.
I'll take
Our
you
old
one
one was a
word. How about
Corolla too.
one of those 80s turbo, one of those 1980s models, Mercedes turbo diesels?
That too.
So it's not like a
Things
Pinto.
Well, that would be great if we back it into something.
Yeah. That's great. So you back up the vehicle, hot exhaust port, right?
Yep.
Kanos, I have to ask, how do you feel about the explosions? Are you like dulled to that by now?
No, I'd say they probably still startle me quite a lot.
Oh, good. Oh, good. See that, Nopales, you're gonna have to up your game so that Kanosai is no longer threatened or even remotely alarmed by things exploding.
Aversion therapy.
Yeah, right. If I
Or
blow up enough,
PTSD,
yeah.
whichever way you want to do this.
So you back up the car. Would you roll a d4 so I know how many rounds before the creatures have started to popcorn towards you, overwhelm you entirely?
A D4.
D4.
3.
Hey, that's not so bad. You've got 18 seconds before these things swallow you alive. Ozetta, what do you want to do? You can see like a huge number of bouncing, spiny what's-its coming this way.
I am going to take out one of my ceremonial dynamite. I'm gonna light it on the car and I'm gonna throw it in their direction in a hope to scare them away.
You
I
bet.
just mentioned that ceremonial dynamite is my favorite item name ever.
I know.
Right?
I don't. I got it from one of my background things, and it was just like ceremonial dynamite. There is no world where I don't pick this one.
Oh yeah.
Like, sign me up. Yeah,
You can
yeah.
have ceremonial dynamite, or you can have these bug things. Nah, dog. I'm gonna go for the ceremonial dynamite.
Like, you get immortality, ceremonial dynamite. Superpowers, ceremonial.
Still taking ceremonial dynamite.
So you throw the dynamite through the air and you watch it arc up and over, and then the fuse goes as you watch a beam of frost touch it and turn it off.
Ruh-roh.
And it clatters on top of the thing. Jacob, what do you want to do?
Grab a marble and throw it at the closest one.
No kidding. Feel free to roll for that. Since you're trying to hit one directly as opposed to just a blast, right? You bet. So you can only see them every second or so as they bounce up and down. So you're rolling a disadvantage, you're going to lose a cut off that.
Okay. Two fives.
No kidding.
Yep.
So you hurl it through the air. The good news is you cause when there must be a vault up there. You throw that with pretty impressive strength. I mean, you're Jacobite. You're not like Aunt May. You're more like the Hulk, right? You hurl the marble, and I don't mean you throw it. I mean you hurl the marble, right? And it lands up top.
Throw.
Yeah, right. We got to get you a sword. Like, oh
Yes.
Oh, never mind a sword. What you need, because it'll be on brand with your whole being a ship. We need to like Iron Man build one of those cannons into your chest.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were gonna suggest that we find one of these giant porcupine, break off a spine, and put a handle on it, and say, "Here you go."
Like a needler from Halo. That's a great idea. That's a brilliant idea.
Just make you a morning star out of these. No big deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, tie it to the end of a rope and use it like a murder yo-yo. Why not?
I like it.
So you hurl the marble. It punches into the ice. You aim a little low. You catch the edge of the cliff, and it doesn't go up and up top. The good news is that this means as the frost beams come out to turn it off, they don't hit it. The bad news is that this does cause an explosion in the top of the ice dam, about 6 feet up. You probably caught some of those in the blast. You can tell from the smell of burnt fur, but it also means that your ice chunks fall down on top of the car, cutting you off from whatever access you get from the heat. It's still being made. You just can't get to it. Konosai, what do you want to do?
Are those little things still coming at us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to load some of the rocks in my pocket into my slingshot and try to take a shot at them.
You bet. Do you want to wait until they hurl them, like until they're easier to see, like they're not on top of the bluff anymore? On the one hand, you'll roll with a cut if you don't. On the other hand, if you wait until you have a clear shot, you're waiting until they have a clear shot. So
I'll take a shot now.
you bet. Sounds good. I meant to run that question by everybody. Sorry about that.
Okay, so with the cut, I've got a 4 and a 3.
Nice. You bet. So you fire with your slingshot?
Mm-hmm.
You bet. Does your slingshot fire anything particularly special?
Just rocks.
Okay, you bet. So you miss. Your rocks hit the bluff, but it doesn't leave a big enough crack for you to make things worse. You just whiff. Joaquin, what do you want to do?
So you said that this is right in the middle of the city. Does that mean that there are any buildings nearby?
Many buildings, power lines, that giant hookup thingy that you use to ride from the top, all kinds of stuff.
So I would like to find a nearby. Yes. I would like to find a nearby building that I could climb up to the roof of and post up and pull out my sniper rifle and go to town.
Sounds good. You bet. So you're gonna does your you what you need is a sniper rifle that fires little Danny DeVitos with guns.
Yes.
That gun exists in Borderlands. I'm sure of it. So you climb up top. I'm not gonna be rolled to climb, right? You climb up on top of the thing. You have a clear line of sight, so you're looking down on them, so you won't be firing with a cut or anything. There are lots of them. There is what looks like an igloo, but the size of maybe a dog house, right? An igloo that like a 15-pound dog could live in. And you're watching it literally shoot these things out of it. Every couple of seconds, it and fires another one about 6 feet. It hits the ice and bounces in the direction of the rest of the group.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually just going to unload on that thing first.
You bet. Sounds good. Roll to hit.
Okay.
Clickety clackety. Roll to attackety.
Let's see. That is 6, 5, 4, 2 twos, and a 1.
Nice. So you plug the thing. What are you firing out of that gun?
Napolis hasn't had a chance to really do much tinkering as far as making any specialized bullets yet. So yeah, I'm just using kind of regular slugs at this point.
Okay, you bet. We're talking the regular bullets that come out of a gun. You bet. It spirals forward and punches into that thing. You hear a satisfying crack and an ice vent, like a tss of really frosty looking steam comes out of the hole you made. You watch it start to melt and sort of deflate. Nopolis, what do you want to do?
So he hit one of those things.
No, he hit a dome that seems to be creating them.
Oh, okay.
Yes, kind of like Jacobite's picture in the back. Do you have a scope on your gun?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you wear your hat backwards like that?
No, but my head is shaped as if I'm wearing a backwards hat.
I see.
Because it kind of swoops back like that.
Yeah, right.
And where's the car that I've got in motion?
Napolis, you are Napolis. The car is in front of you. You can hear it running. You can see through the ice in front of you that it's doing things. But Jacobite caused a small damage from the front of the cliff and has buried the back of the car in like big chunks of ice. So the car is now half buried in the wall. So whatever access tunnel it's going to make, you're going to need to dig out. Oh, speaking of, would you roll a d6 so I know how long it's going to take? Roll a d4 and add one to what you get. So I know how long it's going to be.
Roll a d4 and add 1.
Right. So I know how long it's going to be before your tunnel is available. Before I know, before you know. What'd you get?
4 plus 1.
Ooh, rough. So the creatures, the good news is that's not a super long time. The bad news is the creatures will be on you before the tunnel's ready. And then you'll have to dig it out. What do you want to do?
I'm thinking, hold on.
That's okay.
I am definitely pulling out one of my drug bones.
Oh boy.
It's gonna suck when we run out of those.
You have a lot.
We do.
Yeah. So are these things like they're on the ledge, right? Is there any way I could hit the ledge instead of them?
2 of you did.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean, but actually, like the intent to cause massive amounts of damage to the ledge and maybe make their life a little harder getting to us.
no.
Yeah,
if you smash the ledge, all you're doing is making their jump down to you easier. And you might bury the car further.
Okay. And we can't get to the car at all, right?
No, you can get to the front half of it. Yeah, like where the
I can get to the
steering
front
wheel
half of the
stuff
car. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that
You just
case,
can't get to the back where it's creating the tunnel for you. You did back it up to the cliff, right?
In that case, I'm going to look to the rest of the party and say, start running now.
Oh, no. Except to Joaquin, who's like, I'm already away from this guy because he blows things up. They're pretty from a distance.
I'm going to pop the hood open. I'm going to use my drug bomb. And we're going to actually try to compress an explosion right through that exhaust pipe into the ice for big motherfucking bada boom.
You bet.
And it's compressed.
Nice. Now, is that the kind of thing you think you would take a cut for? Or is it so you've never worked with a car before, except for just recently, but is also.
I mean, I don't know. I got to say my by now my explosions expertise is pretty high. I would say.
Sounds good to me. Nice. So far as that, like a bonus die would be a good idea.
Let's not. Yeah, let's cut one for the other. So it's like, okay, so cars not familiar, but explosions are. So
okay,
balance
even out, I guess.
Yeah, let's call it an even roll. You bet.
6, 5, 4 3s.
Nice. You bet. You say 4 3s?
Yeah.
You bet. So you got a 6. It works. Do you have a narrative twist you want to attach to the explosion?
I don't, but if somebody else does, go for it.
How about the drug bomb takes just long enough to go off that one of the creatures got close to it?
Nice. And you watch one of the creatures come down, which looks kind of like a hedgehog with spines coming off it about this long, many of them, like a frost hog. And as it falls down, the explosion goes off. There's a kick. You watch the car slide forward with enough force that it drives towards you. You're not caught in the blast or anything, but the car sort of towards you. As really, for just a second, it has a jet turbine for an exhaust port. As you blow this giant flame blasted cavern into the cliffside, and you hear a lot of these creatures shrivel up, burn up, and smell awful, and land on the ground as they come through the fire and smoke like little black burnt pancakes on the ground all around you. So you have, when it's all over, you have a, I don't know, you could burn ice, but apparently you can. There's a black streaked ice ramp up to the door of the factory because Nepalese could have killed all of you. Except Joaquin, right, who's up there going, hey.
From his little perch up on the roof, as he sees all this stuff going down and the explosion, how it turns out, Joaquin's just gonna kind of look through his scope, look down, kind of do a little salute to Nepalese and say, "Damn, that was cool."
Burnt ice. It's a good one. I can't believe it. You're crazy.
I keep telling y'all, it's only the man.
Right. Yeah, right.
It's only the man.
I know how this party's gonna die one day.
Oh yeah? How do you
I put a drug bomb in the car. I rolled all ones. Perfect. And you know what? I'm just gonna be all for it.
I was about to say we're still here, right?
We made it.
Yeah.
We're not dead yet.
Yeah. So I just saw the string of comments that you posted in the Facebook thing. That's cool. I should remember to actually look at the comments. We are live, right? I really should have that up in front of me. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So now what? Did we just march our way up to the factory like we own the place?
Do I still see from our position? Do I still see any more of those creatures heading towards them?
No.
Okay. Once I can kind of make sure that the coast is clear, then I'm going to climb down and join them again.
You bet. Kano Saib, I should have waited till now to ask you how you deal with explosions. How's it going?
I just realized that I was unmuted while I was eating. My bad, if anyone heard that.
Oh, you were fine.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually was going to elect to take a mire for the explosions because
Oh.
Kanasai very much has come from a quiet household, you could say.
Right.
So being exposed to such loudness at such levels, I think, would really disturb Kanasai.
Okay. And what is that? What does your mire manifest as? Do you get quiet? Do you like brittle up?
Yeah, I have my flesh turns brittle and makes it difficult to move.
Ew. Nice. I mean, it's not, but good for you. I get bored easily. Bored movement is good. So you have this blasted ramp, literally. What now? We just march up the place like it's yours?
It's not.
I mean, I didn't say it wasn't. We're gonna follow over this GTA thing, right? Joaquin's gonna pull some spray paint out of his pocket and just
Start tagging the whole place up.
yeah, right. Oh man, now we're up to like make a sidebar. You make a group tag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh great! Now you do that. That was the of I'm gonna make me a tag.
Maybe?
As long as it has Canada gooses in it, because they're a national treasure.
Yes. Canada gooses are a national treasure for Canadians.
So what now?
Well, I guess I'll go first.
Okay. We walk up to the main. You've got a couple of access points. Wow, my tongue got ahead of my brain there. There's the big front door, right? There's also a wider, but not necessarily larger door where like you might drive in a big truck. And there is a door that up second floor, exterior staircase. Most of the staircase is metal, but some of it is all of the staircase is metal. Most of it is missing. You see little bits of rust on what's left.
How high up is the like connection or that? So you said we can tell there used to be a stairwell up. How far up is the first one?
Like if you were going to jump up to it,
Yeah.
just over 7 feet, give or take. Nothing you couldn't mantle up if you wanted to.
So here you go. I'm gonna just do this and say,
Joaquin's immediately gonna use his little boost and hop up there.
You bet. Sounds good. That door has, I'm going to generously call it a window. What it really is a hole. There's a break in it. Inside, you're looking at pumps that are still working. Giant pumps that compress in and down and up and down inside of glass. And there's lots of there's lots of tubing that runs from those pumps into a much larger metal box that like you're seeing the top of it, it's definitely on the ground floor. That look like rubber tubing with blue stuff that's coming from the pumps into that box. The whole place hums, not so loud that it would be difficult to communicate with each other, but still pretty noticeable. Constant, and you're not going to get any sleep.
You guys coming, or you want me to go scout it out?
I'll head up there with him as well.
So you said that there was rust, right?
Yes.
And that's unusual.
Where there's rust, there's oxidation. Where there's oxidation, there's air. And when there's air, there's the capacity for fire. I see where your brain is going.
that's a
No,
different place than his
actually,
brain
not
is
at all.
going.
No, not at all, actually.
Really?
The city's actually fairly well maintained, right? This is unusual.
True. This is unusual. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you roll an awareness check to see if you notice anything else that's a little bit weird?
Sure.
As you're scraping the rust into a container.
I have no idea what you're talking about. 634.
You bet. You also notice that the ice parking lot, the parking lot isn't fenced in or anything. So it's a little bit odd that it extended very abruptly. Like the ice shoots out to the edge of the parking lot and then promptly stopped. Like it was vertically flush. And we all know that's not how ice actually works. So that's weird too.
Hey guys, just be nothing. Don't worry about it. Nothing.
So I guess once Ozetta joins Joaquin, he's going to go ahead and start trying to get in.
You bet. Going through the hole is not. You'd have to break it. You just push the door open and go through there. See if it's locked.
How big is this hole?
Maybe twice as wide as my arm, give or take. So way large enough to see through, large enough that you could shove your arm through it. Maybe not large enough for anybody other than Ozetta to like squeeze through because she's made out of goo. She's like a puddle person.
I was gonna say because I do have, of course, I can't find it now. I have something that lets me like sneak through small spaces.
Okay.
Why can't I find it? But I don't know if helps me move easily through narrow spaces. So I'm guessing it's probably not that.
Well, I don't know. Don't you have stuff in your body that like helps you maintain a physical form?
Yes, I do have a wooden skeleton that I have put a driftwood core that I put into myself.
Now, if you walk me through what would happen if you deliberately chose to like ooze off of that. Do you just lose like form or do you perish?
That's my understanding is it's just to help give me
substance,
form and substance. Okay. So it gives me a humanoid appearance.
So I don't see how come you couldn't. So yeah, you're basically wrapped around a store mannequin made out of driftwood.
Essentially, yeah. I've just
creepy as shit. Like I don't see any reason how come you can't like drip, like put its arm, your arm, I guess, right now through the hole.
Okay.
Sort of drip off the end of it.
Yeah.
And then since it'll be out here, you'll need to find a new skeleton in there if you're going to have any agency, like, you know, inside the building.
Or if you can get through the hole and open the door for me from the inside, I can bring in your skeleton and give it back to you.
Can you wrap up over sentient people like the Venom suit?
I don't think so.
Not even if you don't cover all of their air holes?
I mean, you know, I would be all for this ability, but I do not believe that is granted to me by the book. No. But if we wanted to go off kilter, hell yeah.
I feel like if the human, a mannequin, right? What's the difference between a mannequin and a paralyzed human being?
That's true. Oh, we're going to some dark places. But okay, if that's something we can do, I'm going to be like,
it does change your mechanical options quite a bit. So I'm going to check that
like
one
all of my dexterity stuff, and I think all kind of like disappears. I just become a pile of goop. So I'll just be like, do not tell anyone about this, and I will just start like removing my pieces.
Yeah. I'm picturing like a guy just removing his bones one at a time, like Wolverine's healing factor in reverse. He's just pulling them out.
I feel like I'm kind of like the senator from the first X-Men before he loses his complete, structural form.
Yeah. So Joaquin's watching her do this, and he just kind of got this look on his face, and he's like, "That's gross."
Look, we only do this so we can fit in with the rest of you, okay?
You freaks.
Use your bones and shapes.
With your structure and solidity.
Some of you have pelvises. That's weird, man. Like,
I mean, look at this. Can't break this.
Briefly, she looks like one of those tentacle tube things at the DM at the car dealership.
Oh no!
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's just chicken.
It's true.
It represents more than a chicken, and you know it. Like that's a chicken's been on a rack.
Ugh.
It's a chicken that's going to be delicious later.
True.
That thing where you like put the knife down and you crack the rib cage. Ugh. Oh, that sound, man. Ugh.
Spatchcocking is tough the first time.
So is Ozetta able to make it through that opening?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I think her finding the ability to open the door for you will be difficult since we've established she has no real form without it.
So is the hole big enough for me to like slide some of her wooden bones through it to her?
I mean, if you're saying it's about this big, probably.
You can fit, if you can fit an arm through there, you can fit a leg through there, you can probably fit the head through there. If you take it apart, probably everything except the torso.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's even just like it's just pieces that I like literal driftwood.
Oh, so they're
pieces.
not like bolted together.
No, it's not. It's not like an actual skeleton form. It's just something I use to keep my body in a humanoid shape.
So he pushes the arm through, and you become like creepy Venom. You know, the hand from the Addams Family.
He just like puts his face up to the hole and he's like, "Hey, how much do you need to do this?"
But just give me a couple pieces, and I can get the rest.
Does it matter what I give you?
Nope.
Okay, I'm just gonna pick 2 or 3 random pieces of driftwood and shove them through the hole to her.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever done in a TTRPG. And then I will put a couple of those pieces back in, and I will open the door as long as it's not locked.
Does anybody watch the show Psych?
Yeah. The pineapple.
So once she has the door open, I'm gonna like gather up the rest of her bones or whatever and kind of take them in and just kind of set them down near where she is so she can reform however she wants.
You bet. Ozetta, as you go through the hall, there's a distinct chill in the air that causes immense. Like if I poured way too much cornstarch into Jello. You stiffen and almost solidify. Would you make some sort of save to shrug that off?
Oh God. Actually, I am I don't have my driftwood core in me. Shoot. I have frost resistance from my driftwood core.
But you don't currently possess it.
Which I don't currently possess. Okay, so I guess how kind of save would I do for this?
For reasons I'm not going to tell you about just yet, you're going to have a cut for that. What are you, Jacob, are you dragging a man now?
No, Sean went boneless.
He had a no bones day?
Well, that's why I asked if you watched Psych.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Nice.
I love that show. It's a good time. It's actually where I got the idea to ask players if they had any senses they were particularly good with. Sight, hearing, super sniffers, you know.
Yep.
Sharps, I guess. All right, you said take a cut?
Yes. There's a fuzzy cat.
Oh no, it's a 2-1.
Ooh. So Joaquin, when you're like, hey, do you what part do you need? You don't get any answer. What was that? You freeze over like water in a freezer.
Great.
Whenever I don't get an answer, I'm gonna be like, Ozetta, and I'm gonna put my eye up, or what amounts to my eye up to the hole to look in and see if I can see what's going on.
You see a spilled Jello shot.
Yeah, right. What? Are you black and inky? Are you the color?
I'm actually blood? Green.
Nice. So you see like a frozen pile of Hulk blood on the floor.
Okay, that's not good. Guys, I'm gonna shout down to them and say, hey, Ozetta got herself frozen.
You also see what look like you definitely see shadows. I'm not gonna say what look like. They are shadows from the bottom floor. And what look like those porcupine creatures, there's a patoom, there's a poom sound, and then you watch them fly up through the air and land on this upper level from below. The bad news is there's not enough upper level. The good news for you, I guess, is there isn't enough upper level up here for them to stay on it. So their spines extend beyond their little bodies. They can't really stop rolling. You don't see any legs on these things.
Gotcha.
The bad news is that as they come up here, they briefly chip a chunk off of Zeta every time they come up here.
So I'm going to pull out my blunderbuss and stick it through the hole, and I'm going to wait for them to come up each time. And each time one comes up, I'm going to fire at it.
You bet.
Until somebody can get up here and help me get the doors open.
Sounds good.
You said it was
ahead.
7 feet off the ground, right?
You bet.
Okay. I guess I'm going up.
You're going up? You're not just going through the front door like a freight train?
Well, I got to get up to that level, right?
I mean, not necessarily. There's a door in front of you. It's got to enter onto the main floor. I'm kind of surprised that Jacobite didn't just be like, yeah, you monkeys climb if you want. Like, do what you like, play your agency and all that.
We'll come back to me. I'm thinking.
Okay, sure. Conoside, what do you think? You're having a hard time moving. It's been a disorienting day. And Joaquin has just said, hey, one of our friends is literally frozen.
I'm going to send my cordyceps into the little hole.
Okay, is that the bug thingy that's a scout?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it says slow-flying beetle with fungal growths. Mark to gain a burst of dense sensory information from its surroundings, revealing oddities and secrets.
Nice, you bet. So you send it through the hole, and it comes back. Do you see through it, or does it have to return to you?
I think it gives off a burst of the fungal growths, and then I can interact with the fungal spores that it gives off.
Oh, I see.
Okay, like that.
Sounds good. Like nature's squawk box. I'm picturing like a dandelion when all the seeds come off all at once. So it buzzes in there, and then there's a brief wind with the mushroom particulates on it, and with that you gain understanding. Ozetta is in fact frozen so what it looks like scaffolding that runs up very close to that door. So if Joaquin went through it, there is enough space for him to stand, but that's basically it. And he would be standing with Ozetta on the ground underneath him, not next to him. The floor looks like it's been given away a long time ago. There used to be a second floor, but not anymore. Today it's concrete wreckage. The pumps in those big pumps inside have blue cables that run to a huge metal box with lots of wires and switches and stuff on it. The whole thing that attaches to the ground, right? The whole thing, it's 2 stories high. There are lots of these little white, porky creature thingies coming out of what look like 2 small dog-sized igloos down there. And there is, on the edge of that machine, there are 2 things. There's a door as big as a human could walk through its size door on the inside of the machine. So if you went through the front door and then walked middle of the room and turned, it's right there. And on the back side of the machine is a ramp that comes out the back where lots of those little ice domes are being deposited one at a time.
Okay.
You have a machine that is generating enemy generators.
Fantastic. So did I see a alternate way to get in there? You said there was another door?
Yes. So there's the doorway that Joaquin is standing in front of. There's the big main entrance that is large enough that it's 2 doors that swing open. So in theory, in the past, many workers could enter the building at a time. None of this single file stuff. This building is huge. And you're only looking at one portion of it, right? So there's another door on the back side of the room on the other end. Also as big as the one Jacobite is standing in front of. And there's a side door that is normal, maybe 1 or 2 people through it at a time size, between the machine, in the wall behind the machine. If you kind of track that with your eyes outside, that must go to the storage bay, because out here there are 2 giant doors, the kind you drive big trucks through, that sort of line up where that would be. There's also the giant smokestacks outside that you can see, but wherever they go in, they don't go into that room because you can't. The little bug doesn't see where they come out the bottom.
Right. Okay. I guess.
Oh, I almost forgot. Against the back wall, against the door that would take you further into the plant, are many, many canisters. Round-ish, but with flat bottoms and little turn thingies on the top. Picture the gas cans you attach to like an external grill, just hundreds of them, and they're all a little bit larger, and they have this blue stamp on them that looks a little bit like a paw print if it had scratches in it.
Okay. Well, I will relay some of the pertinent information to my allies and see if we can find a way to get the door open, I guess.
So I'm assuming the door is locked, right?
The one in front of you is locked. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna basically keep firing the blunderbuss through the hole, but with my fungal tendril, I'm gonna pull out my revolver and I'm gonna tell Chronoside to stand behind me, like because it ricochets. And I'm gonna basically put it right up onto the lock and just shoot, try to bust through this thing.
You bet. So roll for it, only because if you roll a 1, that'll be fantastic.
Gotcha.
And then we'll see what Jacobite and Apollos want to do, and then we'll take a break, I think.
I did not get a 1, that's for sure.
Excellent.
I had a 6, 4 4s, and a 2.
So that's also awesome. It's a point blank range with a gun. It's what you do, right? You just blow the door, you blow the handle off effortlessly. Do you have a twist you want to use for that?
Maybe whenever I shoot the lock out, it shoots it in through into the door, and it actually hits one of the creatures that is just flying up at that moment.
You bet. Boing, right? You're like, look, 2 for 1. Nepalese, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm gonna start with this. So, Conicide, is it like obvious that something's wrong? I guess. Or just.
I'd be walking pretty stiffly. I guess it wouldn't be too different from like someone who, like a human who is like very cold. They're kind of like huddled in on themselves and not moving their joints a lot. That's probably what Conicide would look like. So you could tell, yeah.
Okay. Just kind of make note of it now, but it's probably try to figure out what's going on later. I honestly don't know. So, is there like a lock on the doors or anything?
One of them's down to lock now, right?
Right.
The other ones you haven't tried them yet. But you don't see a lock on them. At least not on the big, like the ones you drive trucks into. The one in front of Jacobite does have an old-fashioned padlock on the outside. By old-fashioned, I mean key goes in the bottom, none of this high school locker combination nonsense. Which is good because I can't work.
I'm going to assume that you're like somewhat mechanically inclined. Let's try to pick the stinking lock.
No kidding. Yeah,
while he does that, I run through and try to smash the door open.
You bet.
Okay.
Nepalese, would you both roll to do your respective thing? Jacobite's gonna do Jacobite slam, right? And Nepalese is gonna go Gracie, pick. Right?
6655.
Nice. Jacobite, what'd you get?
553.
Nice. So Nepalese, you successfully picked the lock in, like a split second. Do you have a narrative twist you want to go with for that?
Oh, I think the door is actually, it's like I picked the lock and it's actually stuck, but then when Jacobite slams into it, it opens.
You're like, I picked the lock, but it's jammed. Not anymore. Jacobite goes, behold, a door.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
After you, sir.
So you see the machine pumping out little ice, like little igloos that are all collectively crapping out these little creatures. You have hundreds of these things in this room with you. Strangely, Jacobite's enormous, right? And they don't give him any mind at all. They continue to bounce through the air, and they're going towards, you can see the very top of Rosetta's frozen form from here. They seem distinctly interested in her. Nepalese, you're a plant, right?
Yes.
Would you make some sort of save to not have problems with the temperature in here? It's not sub-zero, but it's close.
Okay. Okay. Probably only about 1 and a 3.
Ooh, 1.
We are
Rough.
rocking it today.
So I didn't even think about that, but does that mean Konosab and I both also have to make
You
that
haven't
roll?
entered the building yet, have you?
Well, as soon as we got the door open, like Joaquin would have run in and tried to place himself in front of Ozetta's.
Then yes,
door.
you would make I was going to have you make that roll when you walked inside.
Okay.
Yeah, I misunderstood that part.
Okay,
No, Nepali, so your highest number is a 3? That could be worse. I think isn't one. I forget. Is a 3 the same thing as a 1 in Wildsea?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
6
I
is a
thought.
full success. 5, 4 is semi-success. 3, 2, 1 is fail.
Yeah, 1 and 3, 1 through 3 are the same thing. Right. So you start to stiffen up, but you're at a slightly better advantage than Ozetta was because she didn't even have bones. You have a round to do something before you freeze solid. Joaquin, how'd you do?
I got a 6 and a 4.
No kidding.
Nice.
Rolled really well.
You're like
Yeah.
Nopales. You just shrug it off. And I will see everybody in 15 minutes.
Okay.
I didn't do it, and you can't make me. It's a great defense for basically everything. Also, yeah, why not?
Challenge accepted.
Nicolas Cage's hair is a bird. Nothing matters. Joaquin. So I have never been the kind of guy who's good at shooting games. And I'm even worse when it comes time to use a sniper rifle. I am just not good at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But recently I was playing Far Cry 3, which is brilliant. If you haven't played it, you're missing out. That story is amazing. And there's a period where you have to babysit, let's call him chimpanzee number 1. As he runs from chimpanzees 2 through 17 with guns, he's unarmed. You have to babysit him from range with a sniper rifle. The game forces it into your hands. And they chase him. There's a couple of like barrels you can explode if you shoot him at the right moment to kind of even the odds. But that's your only option. And if you die, you start back at the beginning of that cutscene.
Okay.
And I just, it was like a nightmare. I was like, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I play that game from a stealth angle, but we're talking a silenced pistol, right? A knife. I play up close stealth, not far away stealth.
Right.
Besides, for me, that's way more fun because if you kill the guy from way out there with a sniper rifle, you don't get to stab him with a knife, grab his knife off his belt, and kill the other guy who was like, wait. It's just way more fun. What's up?
I agree, by the way.
What?
With the up close stealth is way more fun.
Oh, way more fun. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I mean, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna see the end of this game. If it kills me, I'm not gonna do that thing where I jump on YouTube to see the rest of it. I'm gonna finish the game my damn self. How do I do this? Oh, that's easy. I become Joaquin.
But
Nice.
Speaking of stealth games, I was talking to Ed about this. Like one of my favorite series that like kind of disappeared is Thief.
Thief is really good.
Yeah.
And not the new Thief. I didn't like it.
New Thief kind of sucked.
No.
It was pretty, and that swoop thing where you whoosh, that was cool. But narratively, I didn't love it, and that Garrett comes across to me as inconsistent. I'm gonna generously call him inconsistent because in the beginning he's like, yeah, the claw's dumb. Real thieves don't need that, and then he used it for the whole damn game, and I was like, no, well, hold on, you're right. The Garrett I grew up with would look at that and be like, crutch. We're like, and so I have the original 3 Thief titles in my computer right now, and I am constantly trying to figure out how to bind them to this thing, and have the controls not suck because it's not a game designed to use one of these, and I'm a gamepad kind of guy, but not so much so that if I can't bind it to a controller, I won't play it. So currently I play it with a mouse and keyboard, but there's got to be a way. Someday I'm going to figure out how to weapon wheel that thing and we'll be good to go. Like, someday. Have you played Styx, Master of Shadows? You play like a little 2.5 foot tall goblin with a knife. No?
No, but that sounds fun.
So do you remember when the new Thief game came out and it left a bad taste in your mouth? Styx will wash that out. Styx is everything I wanted in a new Thief game. If one thing you liked from the new Thief game was the brilliant voice acting behind Garrett, I thought his voice acting was great. If you liked that voice actor, pick up Dishonored 2, and when it comes time for the outsider to brand you with his mark, tell him no. And he'll be like, are you sure? I mean, we're talking supernatural juju powers here. Are you sure? And I'll be like, yeah, piss off. And he'd be like, okay, you're out of your mind, whatever. Boom, you have the great voice acting from that Thief game and all of the bells and whistles and climby, stealthy, jungle gym, playground goodness you were hoping for in a Thief game, in a game that isn't like kind of shit. Like it's Dishonored 2 is really great. And if you choose to have the mark, it's great for that too. If you haven't played Dishonored, you should. It's if you like Thief, you'll probably like Dishonored. It's so good.
Yeah.
I even liked the Death of the Outsider, and I wasn't sure about that. less powers, different character, but your power bar recharges on its own, and that is a game changer. Like, loved it. It's like Dying Light when you get the grappling hook. I don't know how I played without it.
I haven't played the third one yet. I have it. I just haven't played it.
It's good. It's good. And it's the end, right? It's definitely like chapter 3 and it's over.
Yeah, but I bought it, and I also bought Red Dead Redemption at the same time, so you know which one won. And then I went, ooh, Dark Souls. So
I keep waiting for the next Darksiders game. Someday we'll get Darksiders 4. Darksiders 3 was all right, so maybe.
Well, I have learned one of the advantages to the new Xbox. You can't play shit if you don't have your internet.
Oh,
Did you just call that an advantage?
No, disadvantage.
Okay, I was gonna say, wait, what?
No.
This is a small part, not the only part, but one of the reasons I still maintain my original PlayStation 2. Love that thing. Then again,
for Christ's sake, I tried to play Peggle, and it was like, no.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
that's kind of my qualm with Steam too. Is it's just like I would love to bring my computer with me when I'm on work trips and just be able to play some mundane game when I'm really stressed out.
To do that?
Nope.
You can't go into offline mode on Steam. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
It won't let me play because it says cannot authenticate the game.
Yeah. So you'll have to get an offline authentication key for Steam. You should be able to do that.
You're a lifesaver. Where are my things?
I forget how.
No, that was a thing. I became a PC gamer like a year ago. I don't know any of these.
So a long time ago, I've been a PC gamer a long time, even before my computer was really capable of letting me be a PC gamer, right? But anyway, so I got Saints Row 2. Like, I bought it in a box in Walmart back when we bought games with discs and manuals. And the Saints Row 2 PC port is awful. Okay, it's terrible. If you've never played it before, you should. It's a great game. Play it on the PS3 so you can get all the DLC. The PC port is not finished and is buggy as shit. It's not finished. It's incomplete. Like, it doesn't have all the content, and it's buggy as hell. I didn't know that at the time. As a PC gamer and not an Xbox gamer, I didn't get to play Saints Row 1 up until fairly recently. Wow, that's weird. Because I played all the games up to that. Like, I played the first one last. Anyway, Saints Row 2 comes out. I buy it. I'm excited. I throw it in the computer when I get home. What that disc actually is a Steam installer. Yeah. Like, it doesn't.
They pulled that with one of the Beyond Earth. Is that the one that they pulled that with, Ed?
Beyond Earth.
Yeah,
or probably. Yeah. And for the longest time, our internet, like, there was a period where we were moving around and stuff, and we didn't have internet, but I did have that game. And I wanted it. So I lugged my incredibly heavy computer to a friend's house, logged online. You have to boot it up once online, and then you can tell it to run in offline mode after that. You boot Steam in offline mode going forward, but you can't reconnect it to the internet until you obviously have internet again. I don't know if it's going to let you do every game that way. Obviously, if it's an MMO, that's not going to work, right? But
I don't play MMOs.
Ever? Good for you.
I played Halo like 3 times, and I got referred to as
MMO.
target practice, so I never did it again.
That's not an MMO.
Well, I did Guild Wars too for a little while.
There you go. Yeah.
But online gaming with other people is awful. So hard.
Same.
Enough.
Yeah.
Among Us, that's where it's at.
Man,
I don't give me a glacially slow burn, great plot in a single player game over crazy MMO rotation button clicky min-maxy goodness, which I also appreciate any day.
My new obsession is resource management survival games. Like, they are my jam. Raft, The Forest, bring it on.
Have you played Don't Starve yet?
No, I haven't.
If Tim Burton and Minecraft and a survival sim all had a creepy little baby, like, it's a good time.
No, the next one I have up is Green Hell is the next one.
Ooh, yeah, gonna be fun.
Scotch.
So what I'm hearing is that we should have played 10 Candles on yesterday.
10 Candles is a great system anytime. Like, anytime. I'm a fan.
I was talking with Duval about that. They played one. He was like, it was the greatest game ever.
It's a good time. So you blow this door open because Jacobite's a walking wrecking ball. You see these things, these ice thingies, crapping out smaller ice thingies that bounce towards you. One of you has 1 round before you freeze to death. Well, freeze solid. I don't know if you're dead yet. Now what?
Well, was it noticeable that this started when I walked into the room?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to leave the room.
I see. You bet. Good call.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming the guns in this time period work similarly to guns in real life.
Yes.
So,
The ones you have do anyway. Yeah.
So if I were to theoretically rapid fire, like say my blunderbuss and my revolver.
Can you rapid fire a blunderbuss?
I mean, by rapid fire, I mean like fire it as quickly as I can.
I see. Okay.
And just to build up heat on the barrel of both of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Would it be theoretically possible for me to do that and hold it near Ozetta to kind of help thaw her a little bit?
Yeah, you bet. She'll refreeze if you don't get her out of the temperature eventually. But yeah, it'll be enough to thaw her out. Yeah, you bet. Kano side, you're pretty smart. You watched Ozetta freeze up. You watch Nepalese ice over and be like, nope, pass, getting out of the freezer. But you watch Joaquin shake it off. What do? Well, Joaquin fires his guns like a madman to create like a blowtorch for his friend.
Well, let's see. If I stand in the doorway that's been knocked open, how do I feel like in the doorway?
In the doorway, uncomfortable, but not at like risk of loss of being awake.
Okay. And
oh wait, that's not true. You're already suffering stiffness, aren't you?
That's true.
Yeah, that's not true. With the door being blown open, you immediately have problems.
Okay. I'll take a few steps back from the door then, try to shield myself a little. But what do I see from this angle?
Are you up with Joaquin or on the ground?
I'm on the ground.
Okay. So you're looking at the bottom floor. Jacobite has smashed through it. You see everything the bug showed you, just this time with your eyes, not its eyes. There's a door. So this entire place is like a manufacturing plant. The floor is pretty big. There's the door Jacobite went through like the Kool-Aid man. There's a door on the other end of it. Almost as big as this one, a tiny bit smaller. Still lots of space for people to walk through it at a time. Over on the left side of this big floor is a lot of conveyor belts, none of which are working. But I don't mean that they're broken. I just mean that they don't appear to be on. And against that wall with that door is lots of these big canisters, the kind you attach to a grill, but they're a little bit larger. And over on the right is that large machine that appears to be manufacturing little igloos from which pour out those little spiny thingies. They make up, there are hundreds of them in this chamber, which all appear to be ignoring all of you and bouncing up towards Ozetta. Maybe it's because she's a good creature. Maybe it's because she's the only one of you right now that's completely harmless. Who knows?
Okay. Let me see what I've got.
Hope,
yeah. I'll unsling my bow from my shoulder and I'll fire an arrow at one of the tall cylinders that's producing the little igloos.
Okay, you bet. It's powering the object that's making those? Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, okay. $653.
No kidding. That's awesome. You fire, the arrow flies up, cracks through the glass, and gets stuck in when the pump is fully extended. You sink the arrow into it. So when it comes down, one of the almost immediately the little plastic cord that attaches from that down to the big machine, the blue stuff that's in it stops coming. And you watch the machine not stop creating igloos, but slow down by a noticeable percentage. If I were to throw out a number, I would say about 33%.
Better than nothing.
So as I manage to slowly kind of thaw Ozetta out, can I kind of try to push the goo that is her out the door?
Like you're trying to stop floodwater with your hands?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like kicking a bowl of Jello.
Where's the squeegee when you need it?
The whole time he's doing it, he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm touching, but I'm just trying to get you out of here."
He just finds the old floor scrubber.
I swear I'm not a creep. I swear I'm not a creep.
Yeah.
I'm saving your life. I'm saving your life. I'm saving your life.
And he kind of pushes, I'm going to use the word push very generously here, but he pushes you outside onto the step and you don't refreeze. And your skeleton's still there, isn't it? So you can just sort of
I just like flubber my way over. I feel like I'm like the black gook from Fern Gully right now.
Nice.
Yes.
See, that's fine because Tim Curry's the only dude I can think of who could sing about like toxic rain and acid sludge and be like, yeah, give me some more of that. That is a sexy song, and it should not be.
Also, that's my first introduction to Tim Curry, and my second one was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, a little bit of a gambit there.
My
tell a lot
first one
about
was
a person
Clue.
by where they know Tim Curry from.
So my first
one was Clue.
Mine was Muppet Treasure Island.
I was just gonna say my favorite Tim Curry performance is in Muppet Treasure Island for sure.
Yeah, same.
Like, man, when he's singing about pirates, sign me up. Like that's good stuff.
So I'm the weird one. I'm the weird one for it being it, I guess.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah. Yeah, he's creepy in that too. Is he in Home Alone?
Yeah, he's the bellhop.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's Nigel Thornberry. I guess that's where I know him from.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
In the Wild Thornberry. Yeah.
He's Nigel Thornberry?
I forgot about one of my other favorite roles. Tim Curry. So I am a huge fan of the Mighty Ducks cartoon.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen that, you are missing out on Disney gold. It is fantastic. And one of the big bad guy is Lord Draconis, who's like this big reptilian. They call them Saurians. He's a dragon man, right? And he's very, I'm in charge and I'm imposing. And he's voiced by Tim Curry. I'm going to say that again. Tim Curry plays a dragon man.
That's amazing.
An evil dragon man who's in charge of a bunch of idiotic stooges who's up against, I think, sentient duck people. One of which is played by the dim guy from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Raymond.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, right. He plays Gran,
Raymond.
Who's like this Zen hockey, like the character trope, big, strong, really dumb, really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. And it's one of those shows that's super self-aware. So it has like a Dungeons and Dragons episode, and it has bunches of episodes that are based on movies that they're just making fun of while still maintaining its own narrative. It should not work, and it works really, really well.
That's awesome.
It's really good. Yeah, Tim Curry's in a bunch of stuff. Anyway,
also, I will never respond. Yeah, I will never not respond to. He was a dragon man. He was a dragon man.
Yeah.
So apparently, this is a Tim Curry appreciation show.
Yes.
Yes. Podcast.
So Ozetta's able to like reform to her natural self.
Yeah. Do you run up the skeleton, or you just sort of puddle there? I mean,
I'm currently trying to push the things into the right areas to give me form again.
I feel like you need one of those vanity screens to do that.
You just see this puddle just go over this pile of driftwood. It starts moving around, and all of a sudden an arm comes out.
That's better.
This is so humiliating.
The part where you got froze is the part where everybody watched you put your bones back in.
Porque no los dos.
Nice. Kanosai, what do you think? You're watching those creatures. Ozetta's no longer there to be picked on, right? So they've switched objectives, and they are instead headed towards the back of the machine where the igloos are.
So they don't seem aggressive?
I mean, they were trying to like rip little bits out of Ozetta. Ozetta, you noticed that like a certain percentage of your gooey self is missing. I don't know if that causes you pain or discomfort, or
so.
Like if I lost a bunch, like if I lost 20 pounds in like 10 seconds, it wouldn't be a problem per se, but I would definitely notice.
I assume I need to take a hit.
Yeah, how you want to interpret that? You're the one with the weird vestige. You tell me.
I'm not think
sure how to codify that.
To make it interesting. Let's see. I think I will take it to my master scavenger. Okay. And I will also take one to the driftwood core as I try to quickly put it back together and still are in pain and can't focus.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so it looks like the machine has the machine is being almost armored up by these creatures. Like they're gathering up around it. They must be touching it because you hear lots of scraping noises as their ice limbs sort of scratch the outside of the machine. And then you hear a kind of a humming sound. There's already one in here, but now you hear a second one coming from the machine specifically. It starts to leak this blue substance. Joaquin, what do you want to do?
So am I like adapted to the cold from that roll, or
yeah, I assumed you
every
just
time
sort
I
of
re-enter, I have to re-roll?
No, I think as long as your temperature stay, like you don't, if you leave, go back to the door and come back in, you're probably fine. But if you leave and then like wander off to the other end of the city and then come back, you might have to give it another go. You're acclimated, not immune.
In that case, knowing that Ozetta's good now, I'm going to turn my guns on the machine and try to. Before I start just blindly firing, I'm going to actually take a moment to like assess and try to, with my limited mechanical knowledge, I'm definitely not Nepales or Ozetta. I'm going to try to see if there's an obvious weak point or a series of weak points that I can start firing at. So I can roll however I need to, and I'll take a cut if I need to, because I don't really know too much about machines. I have basic knowledge.
Sounds good. You bet. Make an investigation roll with a cut.
Okay, I'm gonna use instinct on this one too.
Sounds good.
So,
oh, that's right. He was also the bad guy in Captain Planet.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I removed the highest roll, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So that leaves me with 2 4s and a 2.
Nice. You bet. So you see where to shoot. There is a panel that as the creatures buzz back and forth, they are digging into the machine, perhaps on purpose. Like this isn't surface damage. If this was your car, we're talking about going through the hood.
Okay.
And as they kind of buzz back and forth like sentient buzzsaws, you can see a plate that they are deliberately avoiding damaging. This suggests that it's important.
Okay. Then in that case, I'm going to how far away is it? So I can kind of judge range.
From you, so you're on the second floor, you're in the doorway. Maybe 40 feet from here, maybe a little bit less.
Okay, so I would probably pull out my rifle for this. Just
well, hold on, the machine or the panel?
The panel.
Okay, yeah, 40 feet. The machine is tall enough that it comes up higher than eye level with you. Like it is tall enough to gain it takes up place in the first and the second floor. So the machine is taller than the first floor. It's like right in front of you, but the panel is down there. So maybe 40 feet from here. I can do the Pythagorean theorem if you really want.
Okay. So given the distance, it would probably be better or more accurate for me to use my rifle on this. So I'm gonna put my pistol and blunderbuss away and pull out my rifle and line up the shot and just start firing at that panel.
Sounds good. Roll the hit. Kano Saib, would you make? How do I explain this? Would you make a perception roll with an extra die?
Yeah.
Somewhere between your natural state, your apprehension for shit that's not natural, and your bug. I feel like you get an extra die out of this.
All right.
Joaquin, what'd you get?
This may be the best roll that I've done so far. I have 4 6s, 5, and a 3.
Nice, you bet. So you hit that thing effortlessly. Would you have a narrative roll you want to make as the machine starts to kind of kick and kibby and with enough force that the bolts it's bolted to the ground with give way?
You know what? On this one, I'll let you come up with a narrative. I'll leave it up to you.
You watch cogs and little pieces of the machine splinter out from between its metal shell. The seams on the edges, right? You're watching stuff like shoot out of it, like the organs of the machine. And that pile of blue liquid is rising quickly. The good news is that's the bad news. The good news is that the creatures stick to it like a magnet and they will not bother you. Konosai,
Awesome.
what'd you get?
6, 5, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, fantastic. You know that the blue liquid, it gives you the creeps. You are innately confident that you should not touch it. You and anything else that wants to stay living that isn't already in a sub-zero kind of state. That and that the canisters across the room, the ones all over the wall. If you're in here to collect the frozen, if you're in here to collect, cryogenic like liquid, that's what you're looking for. It's on like metal racks with what looks like seatbelt material strapped across the front of it so they don't just fall over. But that's if that's what you're here for, that's definitely what you want. There may be more of it in the plant, but there's a whole bunch of it right here. But you're gonna have to cross the blue liquid shit to get to it.
Okay. Well, I guess I could probably ask Jacobite to do it. I don't know how much it would affect him.
Yeah, Jacobite, what do you think?
Well, I've been frozen in mid bust through the door for a while, so why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Nah, you're good.
So you want to
I would have just screwed something up.
Are you going to be like the pain train and just carry your way through here? You need to carve that on one of your arms, by the way, like a tattoo.
Pain train. Yeah, I mean, sure. Is the machine basically harmless at this point?
The machine continues to leak that blue stuff, so we're talking it continues to get thicker on the ground. First it's a trickle, now it's large enough to cover your boots, and the machine doesn't seem to be ceasing production of it.
In my limited knowledge of machinery, could I look and see if there's something that would actually make it stop?
I mean, without any sort of roll, yes.
I've got dice in my hand, so
feel free to roll for it. But I mean, without a roll, break it like the rest of the way.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, then
there might be a more subtle way, right? Like you could get from dice.
I'm not
but without any sort of roll,
I just Kool-Aid manned the door, so
I had a friend whose boss told him something once. Violence will solve all your problems. If it doesn't, you're not using enough violence.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, no. I think that'll wrap up the problem you're currently facing and then present you with a new one. That's what I think.
If it's electronics, you probably need to back the violence off a little bit, but you still need a tiny bit.
Right.
It's not electronic.
Don't punch through it. Right.
More aggressive blowing of the cartridge.
Yes.
Don't do that. You rot this.
I know.
Okay, yeah, so I want to smash it so it quits running.
You bet.
And hopefully quits putting shit out.
Are you gonna do that from melee range or are you gonna throw things at it? If you're gonna do that from melee range, you'll have to step in the blue stuff.
Well, I'm probably not the type of person to just throw something at it. So yeah, I'm gonna.
I love you're like the Trask of the group. Nice.
Yeah.
What are your feet made out of?
We've never had that question.
I know. And we brought up Tarantino earlier, so it's a mandatory question now. I need to know what everybody's feet look like. I need you to put them on the screen for an unusual amount of time.
Okay.
We also need to become obsessed with something that has no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I'm familiar with the Chekhov's gun concept, right? I don't necessarily agree that you need to anyway. But yeah, Tarantino has this fascination with highlighting the same object many times that will have no weight.
Well, I'm just gonna say my feet are made of wood.
Okay, sure. Are they feet? Like, are we talking like pieces of wood that are formed a little bit like feet, or like broken bits of 2x4? I mean, how foot-like are they?
I think it's more of a hoof than a foot.
Nice. Right. You bet. But they're made out of wood, right?
Yes.
You bet. As you would advance towards the stuff, would you make your melee check minus a cut for reasons I'll tell you about in a minute?
To hit the machine.
To hit the machine with you're gonna hit the machine no matter what. I mean, it's not going anywhere, right? It is kibbing and kicking parts loose, but it's not dancing all over the floor or anything. You're gonna hit it, but the roll is to see whether or not you do final damage or not.
Gotcha. Finish him. With
Fatality.
1 cut, right?
Yes.
653.
Nice. So the good news is you come down through that machine like a knife through cheese. The bad news is you slip forward and lean on the machine because your feet literally disappear out from underneath you.
Yay.
No, Polly's, what do you want to do? It's your crazy fault they're all in here, what with your, flame jet tunnel system. Like, what do you want to do?
We're coming in here already. Just
yes, but before that, you could have all been like, nope. And then the Polly's did that thing, and you're all like, let's do it. I blame you.
I mean, all good things are my fault. So
the man's just trying to keep you down, man.
Yeah, the man's just trying to keep me down. So I have these iris blossoms, and here's all it says: you can see heat the way others see color. Does that? I mean, are we looking at that like in terms of like heat, or like actually like how scientifically heat is defined? In other words, I can basically just see temperatures.
As in, you get an LED readout with a number?
Well, no, more like, I mean,
like an infrared?
Like an infrared thing.
What I usually say is that's up to you, and I'm not going to change now. You tell me.
I would assume it's like that. It's not just like you see things that are hot. You see kind of spectrums of color, but I mean temperatures to me.
You don't have heat vision. You have temperature vision. Yeah.
Is that giving me any information
about the stuff on the floor?
Just the general lay of the room in general. Like
so the room is, the blue stuff is on the floor is sub-zero temperatures.
Okay.
It has disintegrated Jacobite's feet. He'll need new ones. There aren't even particulates left in the stuff. The creatures are this close to sub-zero. The igloos that make them, by the way, they continue to make little fuzzy little creatures. They just refuse to back away from the machine. You see that the igloo continues to make them. What am I missing here? The canisters on the wall are also, deeply frozen. Inside the machine, there's a heat differential. Something warmer than the machine, but not, the machine is sub-zero. Something warmer than the machine, but not much, that is fairly round, is inside the machine and is leaking. Is that Arnold?
It's the Friezenator.
Nice. Is that how Predator sees him?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
One of two Arnold characters that you could have put up in this situation that would have been valid.
Do you have the other one have a giant freeze gun?
Yeah.
So, given my knowledge, I am knowledgeable in machines. Maybe take a guess at what that leaking part does. Like, I guess
you get the impression that the leaking part is not a part at all. That doesn't you don't see that as any kind of oil or mechanical derivative that you've ever seen before. It's not oil, it's not runoff, it's not sludge. It's much closer to blood. It's the wrong color, but I mean, that's not unusual. You have teammates that have weird blood.
You have teammates without blood.
Yeah, right. Really? You don't bleed at all? Nothing?
I'm made of Jello.
You are the blood. That's creepy.
I mean, how the book kind of explains is that like I am a gelatinous being, so I am what happened with the gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
Nice. Right.
Okay.
A gelatinous cube and Flubber met one night for a passionate stay at a Motel 6. Right. Like.
Yep, maybe Flubber was a better example.
Then I'm going to pull out my black market pistol and shoot
at
that thing that is pumping blood the best I can figure.
You bet. Sounds good. Roll the hit. Only because if you miss, you'll hit Jacobite. He's right in front of them. He's literally leaning on it. Don't shoot him.
6542.
Nice. You bet. So you shoot right next to him and look all cool and shit while you do so, right? And you hear a ping on the dent you make, Jacobite. You can see what he shot. There's a larger creature, a larger version of one of those creatures inside the machine with a bunch of tubing and stuff attached to it. The machine is broken. Just the creature continues to leak. It will stop. I mean, it can't have blood forever. But it's awful big. One of these creatures is like, this one, we're talking 4 basketballs combined. Konosai, what do you want to do?
Well, I think my bow is the better option than the slingshot at this point.
Okay. What are we shooting at?
We're gonna shoot at center of mass, just near about where I shot before the previous arrow.
Okay, so you're gonna shoot the same pump or a different one?
Shoot the same one.
You bet.
You said it reduced it by 33%, give or take, previous time, so.
Yeah.
See what I can do.
You bet.
533.
Nice. You bet. So you sink right below that arrow, right? You sink another one. That pump stops completely. It was very close to stopped before. You watch this time though, when you fly out, you cut the cable too. And it flies through the air like a balloon that's been popped and sprays the stuff in it all over the ground. Which is not the same blue stuff that's on the floor leaking out of the machine that Jacobite's standing in. When the two blue substances meet, a chemical reaction occurs that causes a deep freeze. Jacobite cannot move, not without ripping off what's left of his own legs anyway. The good news is that pump's completely stopped, and there seems to be a power malfunction. When it stops working, the other two speed up to try and compensate, much like what happens if you have a problem with part of one of your organs, right? Although much like that's not healthy. And the two other pumps go and the machine stops getting fed, which means the ground stops leaking blue stuff. Jacobite still has a problem now. So does Nopales, because all of the creatures in the outside of the machine, Nopales has just killed their mommy. They're coming for him. Ozetta, what do you want to do?
Okay.
Yay.
I have no long range capability. So
that's not true. I'm sure you can insult their mother.
I could.
She's
Your mother
dead.
was a
That's
hamster
horrible.
and now she's dead.
Well, you didn't put her in the machine.
I did not. I also didn't shoot her. But looking around, is there any do I see any volatile chemicals around, any cleaners, anything like that in the area we're in?
My fault. It's what I get for eating when you're about to ask me a question. So you're on the ground outside the plant? Yes? On the upper level outside.
I'm up on the upper level just outside the door.
You bet. So there's nothing out here. There is a maybe 10 feet from you inside on the inner wall, like on the edge of so there used to be a floor up here, presumably, and it just kind of gave way. Over on the left, there's a couple of canisters shackled away from each other. Like there's a foam barricade between the two of them, even though they're in the same basket. Like one of those shower caddies with a wall in the middle. One of them is labeled with a skull and crossbones, and the other one is labeled with what looks like a fireball on it.
Sweet. I'm gonna grab that one. So yeah, I will go inside, and now I have frost resistance because my bones are back. That's a weird statement to say. And I would like to grab that out and throw it as close to Jacobite as I can. Because if he's stuck to the floor, there's really only one way we're getting him out of here.
He's made out of wood. What are you insane?
Look, I can't start the fire. I'm just giving it the opportunity to be there.
Do the Billy Joel.
No, that's we didn't start the fire. She's saying I didn't start the fire.
I didn't start the fire. That's the guy with the gun who shot the ground beside him.
You throw the canister down, roll to hit the spot so you don't hit him.
Oh,
or worse, the sputtering machine
just sprays it everywhere.
You're right.
All right, let's see. That would be.
We demand a Schwabaway.
Let's go with that one. And I don't have much to help with this. I guess I just get 2. A 6 and a 4.
Hey. Do you pick?
So I'm not trying to hit Jacobite. I'm just trying to get it somewhat near to him.
So it lands on the bottom, right? It lands right side up with the fire symbol next to Jacobite like an invitation.
Do what you will.
Speaking of Jacobite, what do you want to do?
Well, while she was doing this, I hollered at everybody, hey, I think I know how to freeze the sewer.
I suppose you do.
Also, I may need some wood feet because, yeah, I'm a little shorter.
I'm a little
yeah,
short
so
on timber. Somebody want to spot me?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still probably taller than everybody else, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the canister and try to melt it enough to crack myself free.
Do you have the capacity to like heat it up? Do you have like a torch or a candle or something?
I have a marble.
Oh boy. Sure.
I have a marble and I have a machine that I assume is made of something similar to metal.
Sounds
you have
good.
a pipe.
This is an acetylene torch, right? Or is it something else? I mean, I know we're outside of game, but is it or is it something else?
I hadn't really considered that. I assumed it was, a blowtorch.
Okay, well that's fine. Yeah.
What's an acetylene torch? What's the difference?
It's bigger.
It's bigger.
Different chemical mix.
I see.
But it's the same thing, essentially. Okay. Well, here we Conasat. You're the expert. Don't let me say stupid things.
An acetylene torch can get very, very hot. Just regular blowtorches probably don't get that hot.
I was gonna say, in a regular, not acetylene torch doesn't get as hot.
Yeah, and you have a lot more control over like the heat and the shape of the flame that comes out of an acetylene torch.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. You learn something every day, and knowledge is half the battle. Actually, in my experience, knowledge is like 80% of the battle, but sure, let's go with half.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's give the guys who focused on all their muscles in high school a little tiny bit of hope. Yeah.
So not only do I have marbles, but I'm also an avid pipe smoker, so I have something to light it.
Nice, you bet. Man, you have gotten so much mileage out of that.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Also, I love how the book, the number one thing it says is fire is bad. And we're just like, no.
Because the man's keeping you down, man.
Fire solves problems.
Getting into our brains.
Right? So San Andreas again, Nepalese, there's a great level in there where CJ is informed by a government spook, basically, right? A shadow man, that he's going to have to go do this dangerous thing. And CJ's going, why don't you go do the dangerous thing? And he goes, because I got 5 people watching me, man. 2 people over on that bluff, 2 over that bluff, and 1 dude from outer space. And he goes, okay, what's keeping me from doing it? Well, how come I can do it and you can't? And he goes, well, because they're all somebody who's watching a somebody, and you're a nobody, and no somebody's watching nobody. You understand? Go on, get. And I feel like the Polys would appreciate that.
Yes. I mean, yes, exactly. Look, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're not ethical.
Doesn't mean you're wrong.
Doesn't mean you're wrong.
Unlike, and then at the end of the game, that guy holds up his end of the deal. You go do a bunch of incredibly dangerous shit for him. And he's essential in you getting the thing that you want. And I was like, Napoleons would not appreciate that, because San Andreas teaches us the government can be trusted. And I was like, that can't be. There's like a laundry list of people in the game who screw you over. The one dude in a suit doesn't. Like, that happened again in GTA 4. A bunch of people screw you over. The one dude in a suit doesn't. I was like, see, I feel like you've lost Napoleon's interest now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in GTA 5
there's
a guy in a suit who screws you over bad, so I can bring that. So you're gonna set this thing on fire and hope that you can leak out enough of what's in it to free yourself. You hope it leaks, that it doesn't explode. Is that right?
Yes.
You bet.
I mean, I'm close to it, so I kind of hope it doesn't explode if it wants to do
Yeah.
later. But yeah,
That'd be bad. You bet. So roll for it.
Okay.
So you can control the fire, like Wheeler from Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Jacob had started the fire. Sorry.
Like every time.
I had that. I had that picture up a second ago with Dwight holding the burned pita. 5-4.
5-4. Ooh. So the good news is
I'm a toasted oak barrel now.
Yeah, right. The good news is you free yourself. The bad news is you've lost. I maybe you haven't lost some credit with the ladies. Maybe you've gained some, right? Like some chicks dig scars, I guess, because you're covered in char marks now. But
what did we learn before? Bitches love cannons.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. We did learn that.
Yeah. So you managed to free yourself. That's the good news. The bad news is the drum is leaking, but it's also going to explode. So you should probably get out of there. Does anybody want to stay before the building goes kablooey and try and swipe some of those canisters off the wall?
Can I? Okay. Do I have a clear path out?
Oh yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Okay. If I have a clear path out, does that clear path go by said canisters?
It yes and no. So the clear path, because you made it, is the door behind you. You can go through the door in front of you, which will take you past the canisters, but you don't know what's through that door. You don't know if it's locked. You don't know what's on the other side. You could go back the way you came, perfectly clear, perfectly safe. Doesn't take you by canisters.
Are one of those pumps that's not broken nearby?
Yes.
On my way back.
They are on the second floor, though.
And what's holding the second floor up?
Support beams on the bottom floor, one in each of the 4 corners of the room. I only ever get that question from engineers.
Yeah.
And what side of the door are the hinges on?
Yeah. And do I have enough time to make a shape charge? Just kidding.
I don't
okay.
know. Roll a d4.
Okay. Crap. I don't know what to do. Somebody else go. I'm thinking.
So what is there available for, like, what can I see on the second floor that's within enough close enough range for me to possibly grab before I leave?
There's not a lot up here because there's not a lot of walking space, right? You have the pumps, the plate the pumps are on must be metal or something because it didn't fall in when the rest of the floor did. And next to that, over in the corner, is the caddy that Ozetta. No, wait, she was on the ground again. That's right. The caddy is downstairs. So you're looking at the pumps over on the left. Over on the right, most of the in the middle of the room and to the right, most of the floor is missing. Over on the right, though, at the very edge, is one of those kind of wall cabinets you might find in like a machine shop. It's metal, 2 doors that swing open. It's closed though, so you have no idea what's in it. Beyond that, nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to that and see what's in it.
You bet. You find pasted to the cabinet itself is empty, but pasted to the inside of it is a series of names and numbers to go with them. So you've got like John J period, right? Like Sally S period, that sort of thing, like first names and last names, but first names and last initials. And then a number sequence next to each one of them that's 3 digits long. You only get 3 different number sequences, even though there's like 15 names there. You get a 339, an 872, and a 127. The 127 appears exactly twice by the 2 names at the top of the sheet.
339, 832, and 127. Is that it?
Yep.
Is it pasted enough to where I wouldn't be able to like peel it off, or?
It's very old. You would have to take your time to not screw it up when you peeled it off. But in theory, you could do that. Yeah. You could do it a lot easier if you get it all wet first. As a guy who like babysat, I was a high schooler with posters once, right? In college, you got to take that shit down when you leave. And I was not smart enough to use thumbtacks.
So I'm just gonna, instead of trying to pull it off, I'm just gonna take a few moments to try and memorize the names and numbers that are on there. And then once I feel like I know that, then I guess I'll head out the door on the second level.
Sounds good. Nabales, you have a swarm of these creatures headed towards you, more than enough that they could bury Jacobite alive, let alone you. What do you want to do? They're all bouncing towards you like okay. But I mean, after that. After the wailing.
And they're just running past poor Jacobite, right? They're just right for me and don't give 2 shits.
Yes, they give not even the tiniest fuck about anybody else.
Yay. And there's a ton of them, huh?
Yeah, right. 100, maybe more.
Okay. Any more of those blowtorch things around?
No, just the one that Jacobite has.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay, so the drugs, they're not necessarily explosive, they're just highly flammable, right?
Yes.
Okay. Problem is Jacobite needs a way out.
Well, hold on. Did you just consider somebody else in your fire-based plans?
This is character growth.
I mean,
right?
Right. Well, I mean, he seems like an all right guy.
Okay. But the plan, these creatures are going to be on top of you.
Yeah, where can I get to from here if I just take off and run?
If you just take off and run. Well, I mean, you could head back down the ramp you made and like book it across the would-be parking lot down to where the car was and from there into the street and I guess hope for the best. you could try and scramble up. Well, they don't really climb so much as bounce, but you could try, to go up. But I mean, it's a giant empty parking lot, perhaps for a reason. You don't have a lot of escape route plans that involve like cover or difficult terrain for your enemies or anything like that.
Maybe
you made abundantly clear of that because you made a ramp to get up here. Right? Like, that one's on you. Don't look at me.
I'm going to take off running, and I'm actually just going to start, and I'm going to open up one of my drug bombs. And I'm
seriously, you're just going to be like, nope, I quit.
No.
All right.
And I'm going to start, like just sprinkling it behind me as I go.
I like where this is going. Yeah, you bet. So, I mean, they pursue you. Of course they do. Like,
yeah,
you killed their mommy. They chase you down the ramp and what, into the street? How far do you go?
Far enough till I'm clear from the building, and I have a nice big area to go. And then I'm going to, nice big area, and kind of just lure them out in the open.
Am I free yet?
With the thing, yes. With the torch, you are free. Your feet are not super stable. You can move, but not at like running speed without risking snapping what you have left of feet.
I'm gonna give him a 4 count from when he starts running, and toss the torch at the tail end of the powder.
No kidding. Okay, you
Yep.
bet. I can't.
Hey, he picked up on what I was throwing down.
Nice. Roll for it.
Um, 5, 4, 3.
Nice. You throw the blowtorch through the air, right? It lands on the drug trail, right? And bursts into flames that carries backwards up and through all those creatures in a burning, shrieking, popping, sizzling curtain of melting fire. And in a couple of seconds, there's nothing except the sound of melting and ice cracking. I can't believe you're alive. Oh, right. And the because I mean it is a drug fire, right? Like last time those exploded. Like so everybody's alive. And Jacobite has, I mean, he's gonna need like to sit down and maybe fashion new horseshoes or whatever, but he's gonna live.
I'm actually going to see if I can find some metal parts and make him some metal feet instead of some wooden ones.
So you're gonna shoe him like a horse? What do you?
I mean,
yeah, why not?
All right, because it might be reasonably insulting. No, all right.
Maybe they have like articulating like toes and things like that. Like they actually like have like toes so you can get better grip. Like actually try to design like an actual foot.
Huh. Okay.
Ironbound aren't above prosthetics.
Okay. Good to know.
I mean, it's in the name, especially if it's made of metal.
I suppose I hadn't really thought of it like that. Yeah, you bet. So is the plan from here to gather up these tanks?
Yeah, I mean, we came here for some canisters. We might as well leave with some canisters if we can.
Right? You came all this
As we're
way to
doing
almost
that,
die.
I'm going to say, for what it's worth, I think that's enough murder for today.
Who are you?
Like, what tire feet so you can just all over the place.
It's the man.
He finally got him. He finally got him.
What happened, man? Did the man get you blinked twice?
So while everybody's gathering up the canisters and stuff, I'm gonna, Joaquin is gonna head over to that little caddy where Ozetta found the blowtorch, and he's gonna swipe whatever the thing with the skull on it was.
You bet.
and pocket that, and then start helping with the canisters.
Small yellow, what looks like a plastic bin. Like, you know, the poly plastic shit that you keep like the big water jugs in for like an office.
Yeah.
Much smaller than that. We're talking like size of a, you know, personal watermelon. Bright yellow, that polyplastic material, and you can see through it just like you can those water bottles, right? If there was something wrong with the water, you'd be able to tell. The liquid in this is translucent but cloudy. Like if I whisked a quarter cup of loose dirt into a couple gallons of water, right? Little bits of granules swoosh back and forth. You bet everybody grabs a canister of doing their best to not step in the blue stuff. At this point, it's kind of trickled flat, and you know it's not bubbling up, and there's not more of it, so it's not that hard. Also, you take some ice chunks from outside, not stepping in, it's not a problem. You get the canisters, and what? You go home? Where is home for you people? Your ship is so far away.
We've got to regroup somewhere so we can discuss how we're going to distribute this cryo oil.
Should we bring it back to the cryo or the stasis area, since that kind of seems to be our home base?
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah.
We should see if we can get a layout of what the sewer system looks like.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a utilities area that we could look for a map or something.
Imagine that's got to be like public domain.
I was going to say,
go to like the town hall and yeah. Is that the plan? We want to go see if there's like a town hall or city hall with that shit on record.
I think we should deposit the canisters back at the home base first.
Yeah.
And then
let's not carry those around.
Okay, sounds good. So the doctor is still there when you get back, right? And she goes, "Oh, excellent." She's you with the canister. She goes, "So survived the encounter with the blue fuzzies. Good for you. I've never been quite sure how to get rid of them. You did get rid of them, right?"
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. Totally.
I don't suppose you brought back a live sample.
Well, that would have been something to ask us before we left.
Fair.
I lift up my leg. Say,
she goes, "Ooh,
no."
Ooh, she does the Peter Griffin thing. Ooh,
yeah, and I'm coming back.
Joaquin's gonna pull out the little canister with a skull on it and show it to her and say, "Hey, do you know what this is?"
Oh, yeah. Don't breathe that. The good news is it'll burn through basically anything. The bad news is without something to filter it through your nostrils. She goes, do you breathe like a human?
No.
Oh, do you know how caustic chemicals interact with whatever it is that you're made of?
Not really, no.
Okay. Then maybe a gas mask is still a good idea. But it'll burn through basically anything. We decommissioned it. It burns way too fast to be controllable. I kind of thought we destroyed all the samples. Apparently not. It does not eat through plastic, which is how come it's in plastic. But it eats through, as far as I know, everything else. Metal, flesh, all of it.
So, Nepales, do you think that you could possibly reverse engineer this?
Because that sounds just like what Nepales needs.
You may find this shocking. This might be a little much for me.
What?
Who are you?
So the truth of it is that Nepales the reason we can't see him is not because his fiber optic cable was cut. It's because he's in a government secure facility now. Right?
Wait, have you been kidnapped? Is that the situation where if you say something that's not normal, we know you've been kidnapped? Like you're just trying to send us signals? Blink twice. Wait, never mind.
What's our word for this situation? Say
Pineapple.
it. Say it. Pineapple.
What's the safe word?
So you notice that one of her hands, as a group, is badly burnt. And she goes, "So I figured out what's wrong with the Combinator. It's very, very broken. We're going to need to replace the entire circuit board in order to get it to work again. The good news is that the old power plant should have spare wires. You could also dig through the city. I mean, it is a city, right? Electrician's offices, that sort of thing. But without replacement wires, I'm going to basically have to replace the whole thing. That's the first problem. The second problem is I don't know how to do that. My expertise can tell me what's wrong with it. I don't have enough of it to fix it. I'm hoping one of you can do that. I do have a part list, as it turns out. And she holds up a panel. She took out one of the panels off to dig through the machine. And the inside panel has a manifest of all the shit that went into its production. Like a quality machine should. Like my computer has a panel that has all the parts in it printed on a sheet of paper. And I think all machines should come like that. So she hands it to you and says, best of luck. And I will see you in a week.
Awesome.
All right.
That was fun.
It was.
Yay. I'm so happy to have everybody back. I was afraid that life was going to collapse. And I mean, it's happened, right? We're not going to see Nepalese next week, right? I'm going to send him the thing. We're just going to get a busy signal. And then a picture that comes up that says the man was here.